Hey everyone, I am excited to be with you today to continue to work on or foster a really healthy digestive and core body. So today we will do some things that will focus on that and we'll also I think I've talked a little bit before about the lymphatic system, but we'll also do some things for the lymphatic system, which is, it's responsible for removing cellular waste from the body, and also for absorbing the fats that accumulate in the digestive tract. So it's an important system when we think about healthy core and digestive system. So with that in mind, if you have all of your props ready for restorative, your blankets, your cozies, your pillows, your makeshift blocks, whatever you have at home, I'll give you some options to use props. But definitely have at least a couple of pillows or couch cushions. And if you're going to get cold, have some extra blankets. Not a bad idea. It's a chilly day where I am. So we'll start out lying down on our backs. You can choose whether you want to stretch your legs out or keep your knees bent and your feet planted. We'll just take a few moments here to feel the body become heavy onto the floor and the feedback that you get from just taking a moment to rest your body in a different position. So if you've been sitting in a chair or standing most of your morning, so as you lie down here, go ahead and take a few moments to place the hands on the belly so that you can get this visceral feedback, this tangible sensation of the breath moving into the belly. And as you inhale, you might notice that the belly presses into the hands. There's this feeling, this sense of expansion. And as you exhale, there's that feeling of the navel releasing and softening back into the spine. Just taking a few moments here to sense that ebb and flow, that rise and fall. Noticing any sounds, any sensations. Let's take 3 breaths here to arrive into the body, arrive into the practice. Just doing your best to be present with your body and your experience. With your next inhale breath, you can release the hands alongside the body. Settle your shoulders away from your ears. And now take your left arm and raise it up and overhead and let the left bicep rest alongside the ear. So you have one arm overhead and one arm still alongside your body. If your legs are straight, go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet. And then roll off to your left side so that your left ear is resting on your left bicep. You're kind of like in this fetal position, but you're using your arm like a little pillow. And roll all the way onto that left hip and that left shoulder, and then see if you can get the sense of the armpit resting and kind of pressing into the floor. So if you're on the back of your shoulder blade, roll forward and kind of push the shoulder blade back behind you so you feel like you're on more of your armpit. Now from here, see if you can start to straighten out through your legs. You can use your right fingertips in front of your chest to keep the balance, because certainly if you straighten out the legs, you might feel a little bit wobbly. And then the same thing, can you get that sense that you're more on your hip bone and less on the glute, so that you're balancing your body completely on its left side? And so I mentioned the lymphatic system here. We have lymph nodes all over our body, and we have lymph fluid that, when it's stimulated, starts to move the white blood cells through the body. And the lymph nodes that are closest to the surface of the body are located in the armpit and the groin. So we're starting to stimulate that lymphatic system. And it might feel a little bit tender, like maybe your hip feels kind of tender, maybe your armpit feels kind of tender. It's just something to note. When you do start to feel that sense of balance, if you like, you can place your right hand alongside the right hip. Let yourself become heavy here. We'll be here for just about a minute, a shorter hold. You can close your eyes if you like. Continue to deepen the breath. Take about 3 deep, slow belly breaths on this first side. With your next inhalation, start to rebend the knees and roll your way back onto your back. If you've kind of come to the side of your mat, go ahead and scoot back to the center. Rest your hands on your belly here, knees bent, feet planted. Just take a couple of breaths. And as you do this on your back, bring your awareness along the left side body. There might be some sort of residual sensation, a feeling of flushing or a tingling, of washing through. With your next inhalation, extend your right arm alongside the head, so the right biceps kind of just resting alongside the right ear. Left arm can stay down alongside your body. Begin to roll your way off to your right side. So your right ear gets to rest on that right bicep. And then see if you can get yourself to the armpit. So I'm just reaching underneath my armpit and kind of pushing the flesh of my shoulder blade to the back, so that I'm resting more on the front of my armpit. I'm still on my right side body though. And then begin to extend your legs out long, left leg stacking on top of right. Left hand can be in front of your chest like a little kickstand, and go ahead and see if you can get more on that right hip as well, less on the flesh of the glute. Start to let the body be heavy here. And then when you feel stable, balanced, left hand, if you like, you can rest that alongside the left hip. You might just notice that there feels like a really stark difference between this side and your first side. Maybe more tender or less tender, or more sensation, more wobbly. Just notice these things. Deep belly breaths. Take about 4 deep belly breaths here. Now this time on your inhalation, we're going to go ahead and roll onto the belly. And you can just take a moment to fold your hands underneath your forehead. Relax your elbows out to the sides. Let your forehead rest at the back of your hands. And just notice what it feels like to be belly down. And so if you watch the lecture on digestive and core health, this was something that I demonstrated, this belly down Shavasana shape. So this is one way to take it. You can stay with that. Or I'll also give you the option of pressing up to hands and knees for a moment and setting up a more supported belly down Shavasana with the use of your pillows. So you'd take a pillow or two and line it up underneath the chest, the belly, and maybe the pelvis. And then I always like to take a blanket underneath the ankles. And so I just roll it into a little circle. I place that at the bottom of my mat where my feet are going to go. And then I place the tops of my ankles there. And when I come down to my cushions, my pillows, I make sure that I have space for my chin above the top of that pillow. And then it might be enough to just stack my hands underneath my forehead. But if it feels like too much strain on the neck, like you need a little bit of more height underneath the forehead, you can always go ahead and fold an extra towel, blanket, or pillow to rest the forehead on. And if you're doing that, it might be kind of nice to explore taking the hands in a different position, like in a really loose Sphinx pose with the elbows out to the sides, the palms facing down, or you could even take the arms alongside the body, palms facing up. So explore your hands and how you're placing them and how that feels on the shoulder and how it feels on the neck. And then eventually find a place to settle and be still. You can take advantage here of breathing deep into the belly. Let the belly press into the surface of your yoga mat if that's what you're lying on, or your pillows if that's what you're lying on. And again, just drawing the awareness down into the belly. How does it feel? So we'll be in this belly down shape for about 2 more minutes. Just continue to breathe nice and deep. And as well as bringing the awareness into the belly as you breathe, also bring a sense of expansion across the back ribs. So you can feel the back body lifting and expanding with each inhalation. Take about 4 more slow, deep breaths. Start to bring the palms underneath the shoulders so that you can begin to press your way up to your hands and your knees. We'll make a pass through child's pose. So from here, you can send your hips back to your heels. If you have your pillows and your cushions underneath you already, you can go ahead and drape your belly and your chest there. You can also do this without your cushions. But if flexing the knees is challenging and there's a lot of space between hips and heels, it might be helpful to have that extra support underneath the belly. So anything you want with your arms, you can extend the arms forward if that feels okay on the shoulders. You can also take the arms back alongside the body. Let your forehead rest on that tangible surface of the mat or the floor or the backs of the hands. So when I'm thinking about stimulating the digestive system and helping elimination and waste move through the body, I really like child's pose for this with my knees together because I can let my belly rest on my thighs and I get a compression of the ascending and descending colon. Just a few more breath cycles here. On your next inhale, palms underneath the shoulders. Roll on up to a brief seat. Now we'll come down onto our back and we'll move through a few twisting shapes. And in this twist, if you have a favorite supine twist, it'll do the same work on the internal organs, that compression work, which is really good for washing out, cleansing the vital organs and the intestinal tract. So I will walk you through the twist that I'm going to take, but if you have a twist that you would prefer to take, feel free to take it. So what I'm going to do is place my cushions, my pillows off to the left side of my mat, like in the center of my mat. And I like to give the back of my head a little extra padding, so that blanket that I had rolled there, I might unroll it so the back of my head gets a little like shallow pillow. And I'm going to come down into my back, make sure that just the back of my head's resting on that extra blanket. Keep the knees bent. And then I'm going to move the knees off to the left to where that pillow's waiting for me. So my outer left knee and my outer left ankle get to have a really soft landing. My right leg is stacking on top. Both of my shoulders get to rest on the mat or the floor. And then the hands. So there's a lot of different things you can do with the hands, but today you might take your left hand to the low belly and make that connection. The right arm, you could stretch it out to the right side. So there's that parasympathetic nervous system response when we create this closed loop within our body, the hand in contact with another body part. As you settle into your twist, invitation to close the eyes if that feels comfortable. Again, deepening the breath. And here, can you let go of any gripping, any holding on of the muscles? You might imagine with each exhalation that you release any tension. So that each exhalation sends you further and further into a state of relaxation. Take about 3 to 4 more deep, slow breaths in your twist on this first side. And on an inhalation, start to think about transitioning out. Begin to move nice and slow, unwinding on your exhale. Take a moment to pause and center. You can either plant the feet and just rest there and center, or if you like, you can hug your knees into your chest. So we won't move right into that second side just yet. We'll take a moment through center to pause. And if you're taking that second side of your twist the same way that I am, we'll move that cushion, the pillows, whatever you're using, off to the right side of the mat. So you have that soft landing pad there. And you'll start to make sure that the shoulders and the back of the head are supported and relaxed, and then take your knees, your legs, off to the right. The outer right knee, outer right ankle, get a little bit of support. Left leg stacks on top. It's always so interesting to me how different right and left side feel in my body. It's like I'm suddenly in someone else's body. So to me, that's just some feedback that perhaps I'm moving throughout my day in a way that has some natural imbalance. Perhaps I stand, or I'm right side dominant, so I stand a lot on my right foot, do a lot of things with my right hand. So this yoga practice brings all of that to the awareness. I can feel the difference. It's just something we get to notice in our body, not something that we need to judge harshly. But when you bring things into awareness, you have the opportunity to consciously maybe make change because you're aware of them. If you haven't already, you can make the connection of the right hand to the body. Maybe the right hand's resting at the belly or somewhere alongside the left leg. Take about 3 to 4 more breath cycles on this second side. Big breath in. On your exhale, start to unwind, come out of your twist. It's time to head into your final shape. Maybe that looks like Shavasana on your back with the legs stretched out long. Maybe you enjoyed your belly down Shavasana so much that you want to flip over and return to that. Or if it's even more comfortable, you could always take a final seated meditation. Just begin to set yourself up in a way that's supportive of stillness. See if you can get your shoulders to relax a little bit away from your ears. Notice the back of the neck. Does it feel neutral? Is your chin just slightly lower than your forehead? Let your whole jaw soften and release. You feel the tongue widen at the base of the mouth. You can even feel the flesh around the eyes soften and relax. If you have more time to spare in your day, feel free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you can afford. If you need to move on, start to awaken the body, slowly deepen the breath, wiggling your fingertips and your toes. You can move your head side to side. So if you're on your back, you can stretch your arms up and overhead, breathing into the length of the body. If you're belly down, you could press back through child's pose. If you're seated, you can stay seated. Begin to think about making your way up to that final seated position. Go slow and take your time. Just a few moments here to arrive into that seat. Feel the length of the spine grow tall. One more time, just placing the hands on the belly, check back in. Notice if things feel the same, different. Breathe into the hands. Last thing, joining the hands together at the heart, bowing the chin into the chest. Offering gratitude to the infinite wisdom of the heart space, and to all of our teachers, past, present, and future, but most importantly to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste, everyone. Oh, thank you all so much for